Billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Brothers and sisters, welcome to today's video blog. Well, how do I start today? I guess the best way to start is just to jump into it. And there was a question asked by my viewers, which was leave a bio. And this is one of the attempts I'm trying now. Well, brothers and sisters, my name is Abdur-Rahim, and as I've stated in some of my videos, I came to Islam through my mother at the age of 5 years old. I am also the oldest of 10 children, or better stated, I am one of 10 children, the oldest of 9 children, and was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, Motor City. Coming up, my mother converted to Islam, and she was a part of the Islamic movement of the 70s. The movement was called the Darul Islam. The Darul Islam was probably the largest Sunni Muslim movement in the Midwest and the East Coast at that time. It started in New York and expanded out. I don't know if you brothers and sisters have heard of the Riyadh, but the Riyadh is a very large Islamic festival, or it deals with sports in the Midwest and around the East Coast, Philly. A lot of African American Muslims go to this. There's competitions in martial arts, soccer, all the different sports, and speakers from all throughout the Islamic movement, particularly the African American community, go to this event. This was started by the Dar Islam. The Dar Islam is where I got my training as a Muslim, learning Quran at a very young age. My brothers and sisters were really young at the time, and I was the oldest. There was a separation of the Dar, and as you know, we all have fitna in our communities. And alhamdulillah, we ended up leaving Michigan and separating ourselves from the fitna and the extreme violence that I remember as a child. So it picks up that it began to expand and move to other parts of the country. I've traveled. I consider myself to be a coast-to-coast brother. I have contacts throughout the United States. I ended up going to college, getting educated, getting a BA. Had some high aspirations with education, which changed to different things. Worked closely with my mother and run a business, et cetera, and work, all the good things. But that's not very important to me as much as my religion and my relationship with my religion. If it wasn't for my mother taking the Shahada, I would not know anything about Islam. Well, shortly thereafter, my mother married my father, or Muslim father, within 2 weeks of her conversion or something like that. I was married very quickly to him. After the marriage, they were together for 13 years until his death. My father's death was mysterious, my Muslim father's death. He died in the hood during the 90s when Bloods and Crips was pretty big. He wasn't a part of any gangs or anything, but his death was very mysterious. And many of the members of the Dar, their deaths were violent and very mysterious. Still to this day, there's no books written to explain why the movement collapsed, but things that help people of the African American community collapse and are infiltrated. Fitna evolves, and who suffers? The African American people suffer. But in this case, alhamdulillah, I learned from his death. I was 15, and I ended up taking the responsibility of my brothers and sisters, all 9 of them. I have a brother that doesn't know his father. He never saw him. And so we're dealing with the issues of post-traumatic stress in the family, brothers and sisters that are dealing with not knowing Baba, is what we call them, you know, not knowing their Abu, their father. And this has been a trial. This has been a trial. But alhamdulillah, besides that, you know, the hard days are over, like I tell my mother. The current period that we're in now is dealing with my sisters. They have children, and so we're providing for our nieces and nephews. But I'd like to go back to my college experience. I did sports, football, track, all that stuff. Was an athlete, and really performed at a high level. And in college, I was also Black Student Union president for 6 years, and I ended up going to the state level and becoming Black Caucus president. So I like to engage with the public, and communications was my specialty. So this is one of the reasons why I've taken on this project. So it gives you a little more of an insight. I never really had high aspirations. As it stood about a week ago, my aspirations or my goals have been busted. The response from brothers and sisters has been awesome. And most of my collective is actually a small circle in my community, but it's extended around the world. And I want to thank everyone for that and all the support, my friends, all the brothers out there, alhamdulillah, and the sisters. Thank you for supporting me. It really shows what the beauty of Islam is all about. Well, lastly, I just seek to educate brothers and sisters in areas that there's not very much knowledge. There's so many topics that don't get covered in the Islamic community. And so my objective is definitely to share these areas and work to re-establish some dialogue in areas of the Islamic movement, in areas of all the topics that I've covered with the prisons, honor killings, and different things like that. I try to come up with the most creative ideas to keep my audience, you brothers and sisters, entertained and, well, informed is a better way of saying it. So inshallah, make dua for me and make dua for my family, inshallah, and hope that we all gain Jannah first and foremost, and that we are able to do what Allah has ordered us to do, which is to worship Him. I'll end with the hadith. There's 3 things that the believer should do. And if he sees a wrong, he's to try to stop it with his hands or to speak out against it. The lowest level is to hate it in your heart. Again, this is paraphrased, one that we're all familiar with. But this is what I have enacted with my video blogs. And this is why I put my passion into it. I can't stop many things with my hands, but I do speak out. But that does not mean that I don't handle things with my hands. Trust me. I'm a very proactive brother, so I've done a lot of things with my hands. Being at my age and being raised in the 90s, I do know how to get down. So I thank you, brothers and sisters, for listening to the bio. I hope I can fit it in 10 minutes. And if I did, alhamdulillah, I hope you enjoy it. Allah forgive me for my sins. And again, if you have any other questions, the email address will be ready for you. Thank you, brothers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.